Hello and welcome to my channel on human design. Well, last week created quite a lot of interest with the topic being the raves, and of course there are some questions that come on afterwards. So I will address them in this video too, plus a few other aspects we're going to be looking at. So let us begin, and we begin with our first question from Merlin Fixer. I have a question regarding raves and their charts. If I remember correctly, Ra mentioned that raves will be all right fixed. So although we cannot tell whether someone is a rave by looking at their chart, I guess only those who are quad right can be raves. If someone's chart does not have all four arrows pointing to the right, they cannot be a rave. Is that correct? Or am I missing something? If that was the case, would it be possible to determine at least if there is a certain possibility of someone born after 2027 being a rave or not? I'm just asking out of curiosity because I want to understand the mechanics. Okay, thank you for that question, Merlin. I'm sure many people have the same question. So yes, the raves will be quad right. So that is correct. But basically, the raves will not be human in the same way that humans are. So you will know whether they're a rave or not when they're born. You know, there are certain indications. You know, they will not cry when they're born. They can't be touched much without being bruised. They will not want to eat meat. You know, there are the various indications of their inner-centeredness. And this is basically what a quad right is. And they are here to receive, to take in, and in terms of the raves, to filter the frequency, whatever it may be. And they will not be complete until there's enough of them to have the group mind and the many bodies that will be associated with it. So they will look, maybe they'll look a bit similar, but they won't act the same way. They won't be like a human quad right, you know, they'll be much more passive. And they're not going to be interested in their parents. They're not going to be interested in the surroundings around them. They're interested in the inner world. They're interested in the frequency of what is emotional awareness. So this is where the emotional awareness begins to come into its own. But it is not like the human emotional awareness. It doesn't have the motor behind it and the ups and the downs and everything else that the emotionals go through, the drama of life. You know, it's not the same thing. So you will know them by their behavior. You will know them. You can, yes, you can check the chart to be sure or whatever, but, you know, they will be rare to begin with. So let's not get too carried away with it. There will be a label given to them. I don't know what the label will be, but it will be something that people will become aware of because more and more of them will be born. And it is at that time that they will be regarded as a special case and put together in an institution or whatever it may be. So that's all I can say to you. I mean, I'll follow on with another question. So thank you for that question. And the follow-on question is from Aries, and this is their question. Is there a group of people organized to go look for raves to nurture and unite them? I'm just curious if the Human Design organization is doing things like that. Aries, I can assure you that anyone involved with human design is going to be out there looking for raves, whether it's a formal official organization or not. We will be keeping our eyes and ears open. So that is for sure. Whether we'll be in a position to nurture and unite them, well, it depends if we have the facility to do it in, to care for them. It's probably more likely to be a government organization, God help us, but it may well be in a private institute as well. But I don't know yet. Let's see. It's hard to know. We don't know where they're going to be born in what numbers. It's one thing to think about them in your own country, but what if one of them was born in Africa and one of them was born in China and one of them is born in South America? I mean, there are logistic issues to be considered and funded. So that's really all I can tell you on that one. We will be looking. You can be sure of that. I certainly will be. And I'm sure all you viewers will also be looking. So yeah, keep your eyes and ears open. Let me know if you find anything wherever you are in the world. That would be great. I would appreciate that very much. And I will let you know if I find anything that's very likely to be a rave or more than one. We'll keep in touch. You know, it's bound to happen. And the final question on 2027 comes from Tinker Tweet. And this is their question. As we approach the 2027 global shift from the cross of planning to the cross of sleeping phoenix, how do you think manifestors known for their initiating, closed and repelling aura will need to adapt their strategy and role in the world, moving away from the communal structures towards individual mutative consciousness? Okay, Tinker. So if I think about that, I mean, I'm counting on the manifestors. I'm counting on the wildness in the manifestors, you know, to find a way through what is going to be happening. So how will they adapt? They're wild. You're not going to train a manifestor, you know, unless they want to be trained in something. So that is what I'm counting on. I don't think they're going to have to adapt to their strategy. And just think about what a manifestor can be. So some of them are going to be very emotional. Some of them are going to be splenic and non-emotional. Some of them are going to be connected to a root. There are all different kinds of manifestors. And some of the manifestors can also, of course, have logic in them. They can be very sensible and rational as well. So let's not have a homogenized view of what a manifestor is, because we know the definition of it in that it'll be a motor to the throat one way or another, but no sacral. But that does include lots and lots of channels and circuitry that can make manifestors extremely different from one another. The one thing that they all have in common is that they will, or they can, initiate. And they do have repelling and closed auras. So when everything is breaking down and things aren't working, you know, the manifestors will probably come into their own more, I would have thought. It's like, okay, well, let's not waste any more energy on this. Let's do something new. Let's get this together over here. Come on, generators, you do the work. You know, it's like the manifestors will lead the way in some ways, I believe. So I don't think they're going to have to adapt their strategy. Their strategy and authority remains the same, whatever their makeup is, but their wildness is what I'm counting on, because they can probably handle what's coming better than most. And of course, some of them can also be communal. You can have the 4037, 4521 in the chart, and that will still be a manifestor. So it's not like they're all going to be moving away from the communal aspect. They may very well be manifestors out there that will actually create communities to deal with the changing times that we're going into. So yeah, think about manifestors in all that they can be before we start going, okay, what are they like? They're just going to be like this. No. The thing in common is they all have this wildness in them. And we're going to need that, in my opinion. All right. Thank you for your questions on 2027. Aries also asked another part of her question was regarding to the changing times. And I'll just pop that one in here. I feel so much better now that it's spring and the sun is back. Yeah, me too. But I was wondering if the program in this last push towards the end will give us some positive illusion of it. I mean, if functionally that would be a thing, externally everything is crumbling. I mean, more for our cognitive process. Don't know if it makes sense. Okay, so I wanted to put this in because the program is the program. It's an ancient program. It is, the wheel has turned many times. I think we're in the sixth revolution of it at the moment, and it covers a huge span, okay? Massive span of time. So what has happened is that in February next year, you can say that the human species have completed their process within the program. So the program is no longer, or will no longer be, concerned with the human evolution. It is a program that is going to help the Raves grow, because they are the next evolutionary shift. But the Raves will not finish their process. Think about that. The Raves are not going to be able to finish their process. There will not be enough time. But we will have finished our process. Think about that. You know, human beings, you know, all the things that we've been up to over all the centuries and millennia, you know, it's in us now. Our process has been completed. Now, what we do with it and what we can do with what it is to be a human, that is where my interest is. It's not like I'm expecting any other physical shifts or extra centers coming in. Actually, there was another question from someone saying the Raves will have 11 centers, won't they? No, they have 9. We have 9. It's just that the Raves will be connected to a group mind in the way that we are not. So I'm looking to see, as you know, those regular viewers, I'm looking to see what the human potential will be in a time when the program will not be focused on humans. You know, I hope it's going to give us a chance to move further than we have with the program on us all the time. You know, I hope it will enable opportunities for human beings to basically be all that they can be. And we've seen enough glimpses in our own lives and in the lives of those in a historical context to know that many, many things are possible, but rarely lived. So I am hoping that it's going to be a time when what is rarely lived can be lived more as a human being. And I'm sure, I can't imagine the program giving us any positive illusion otherwise. I'm not expecting that. You know, maybe it'll happen, but I don't know what it would show. Human design is really, you know, one person at a time, one person at a time. You know, one person that makes an inner breakthrough can affect a lot of people and can even guide other people towards something that is far more valuable than what is generally known. So I'm kind of quietly excited about what can happen from that point of view, but I'm not expecting it to come from the program. We are already complete as a species. Good for us. Okay, let's move on to another topic. And the topic is from a 6-2, leaving Chiron. This next question is from Art in All Things. Possibly the greatest challenge is trusting that the changes made already that align with integrity to type, profile, etc., plus the incredible resistance to that is key for all types. As a 6-2 stepping out of Chiron, I definitely feel wobbly. However, I try to trust myself on my process rather than the massive fallout due to conditioned people from my past leaving my life. It's very easy to fall for the idea that the shift will be worse than where we came from, for myself anyway. Yeah, it's always tricky for a 6 line. You know, everything builds to the Chiron. You know, this is the time of the flowering and the necessary healing that has to take place. And it is scary because the life is wobbly. I mean, this is what it's like. So Art in All Things, this is part of the process. What can be better about where you are now to where you were before is that you move into a potentially more transcendent plateau. So if in the first 30 years, it's all about subjectivity, in the middle period on the roof, it's about objectivity for a 6-2. And then as you get into Chiron, you go through Chiron into the next second Saturn return, It is really about getting involved with you being able to be you. You be able to walk the path of an integrity. So this is the point. You're not going to be involved in all the things with all the people that you were, because they have no point to you in your next life, in this life that you're moving into. And you're only going to want to stay with those people who will allow you to be yourself. And one of the biggest things is to allow the let go, to allow the let go. You know, if you're not feeding the people that will keep you entrapped, you know, you're more freer to allow yourself to open to those that are more there for you as you truly are, for you in your own integrity, for you being you. So in that respect, one, you can't avoid it. Two, you're in the middle of it. And three, it's a natural process. And I have watched enough six lines move through a long period into their second Saturn return. And yeah, they go through all kinds of things along the way, but sooner or later, there is this settling down to what is really important to them for their life, to live themselves in their life. And largely, I think it's a matter of letting go. Thank you for the question. And another part of the question from Aries, I mean, it's almost like they're a quadruple split. Lots of very different questions, which gives a lot of diversity to this week's video. This is a question about a sacral being influenced by emotional conditioning. Is the emotional conditioning of transits and people and the other million things that influence us a strong enough factor to decide to wait when confronted with decisions for non-emotional types? And in my case, which is my sacral, I've just got the 360 and ninth gate. So most of the time I live in a plateau response-wise. I get it when I respond and I can feel it, but many other times I'm pretty unsure about the clarity of my decision. This question is really about how do you deal with conditioning? And when there is an awful lot of powerful emotional energy coming towards you, it is something that can, you know, you encounter, you know, but your response is still key. So is there something new in it? You know, where's the focus? What needs to be done that is new and different will be what you will respond to. Is there an opening here? Is there something happening inside you while you're being confronted with this emotional energy? Is it about you doing anything or doing nothing? You know, these are kind of mental thoughts I'm talking about, but the actual thing is in the moment. You know, in the moment, is there a response, and is it an intense response or not? Simple. So is the emotional conditioning enough for us to wait? Well, you know, if you're here to do something and you're waiting for the effects of the emotional energy to take you over, then you're not operating correctly. You're here to be able to receive the conditioning and learn from it, but it shouldn't be interfering with your decision. So it's something to watch. It's something to watch. If you've got emotional people around you and you're not sure of your decision, maybe you're not making a decision because no decision needs to be made at that moment. You know, we're not here to be doing. We're here to be doing in response. So maybe if you're being confronted with emotional conditioning, you're there to hold the space, to take it in. Maybe nothing needs to be done. So I would ask you to consider that, but always come back to that response. I don't know whether the 360 is conscious or not in you. I don't know if the 9 is conscious or not in you. But the main thing is that if there is no pulse running through you, there's nothing to do, because it's not going to lead anywhere new. So you wait until your body tells you you need to get involved, and it will do it energetically. It won't do it through thinking. Okay, so I just wanted to make that clear. And for the final part of your questionnaire is regarding human design training. Again, very different subject. Can you explain how it kind of works to get certified as a human design practitioner and the most competent formation apart from Idea Ra? I'm so sad to be born just a little bit too late to meet him. But well, what can I do? Because I'm getting deeper and deeper in the knowledge, and I would like to get a more full and broad formation on it, and hopefully doing something great by sharing it in a professional way and to get paid for it. So yes, there is a procedure. It involves doing the LYD, the Rave ABC, and the Rave cartography, and then going into the professional training, where you will be trained to be an analyst. You'll be, I mean, I'm also offering that myself after a few years on break from that. So I'm offering that in July. You'll see that on my website under the new teaching platform, and people can come in and apply, and I'll get back to you when we have the right numbers. But you do need to have done the prerequisites of LYD, Rave ABC, and Rave cartography. And then from the PTL1, from the diving deep into the lines and the language and the mechanics of it all, you will also then go on to the relationship training, the incarnation cross training, the cycle chain training. So it's all part of a package, at the end of which you can give about 6 different readings. And Ra worked very hard to find a way to teach human design that was most effective, and that will be taught in that formal and official way. Otherwise, there are lots of people out there that are offering this, that, and the other, but there will be gaps. And yeah, you got to work with people that have been in it for a while. I mean, they've got to have had the experience, and if they have been connected to Ra, you know, there are still some of us old teachers out there, but those that haven't, if they've worked with those that have, then you've got a lineage through to connect with the way that Ra brought it out, which is obviously deep and stable and covers everything. So you can go to my website, or you can find out some of those teachers that have the experience that are out there. Okay, so thank you for the question and a chance for me to advertise what I'm up to. Very good. And our final question is from a mother, and she wants to know how to bring up her 5-1 child. This is from Isabella. My daughter is a 5-1. How can I best support her in her upbringing? Because the insecurity is there in her, and I can worry that it will hold her back. I have always really tried not to pressurize her and said that perfection is not a real thing. As parents, we are very aware of telling her that just by being her and existing, we are so very proud of her. It has nothing to do with achievements. Well, Isabel, a first line is an investigative 9. It is insecure because it's weak. It is only by going into the depths of whatever that weakness is that they become strong. So whether you're a 1-3 or a 5-1 or a 1-4 or a 4-1, there's usually a speciality, something that they're really interested in. And I would ask you as a parent to look and see what they are using their time for, what interests them. You know, support them in that. Provide them materials and information about whatever that is. Let them dig into what they need to dig into. And then in that area that they've gone deep in, they're not going to be insecure. They're going to be probably more authoritarian because they've gone into it. They know it. They've studied it. They've lived it, whatever it may be. So the insecurity in a 5-1 is also in the unconscious side. So it's really to do with the body. You know, it's not a good idea to go up to a 5-1 and, you know, immediately touch them without giving them some warning or whatever. You know, they'll freeze up like this. So they can, in a way, be more insecure than a 1-3 sometimes. because a 1-3 is always aware of their journey into the depths and where they're weak, where they're strong, whereas a 5-1 not so much. But the other thing, for your sake, is to realize that the 5th line is very practical. So there are going to be people with expectations that will come to your daughter, expecting her to be able to help them. And if she cares enough about them, or she's looked into it, then she will probably try, and she'll go deeper into things. So the insecurity isn't something that is going to remain insecure in everything throughout the life. It isn't. There will be areas of great strength, of great depth, of great intelligence that she will find along the way. And you follow her, teach her about her strategy and authority, feed her in the correct way. That's the best way you support children. If you go and get my Rave app, it will describe all the different dietary regimes, and you can find out which one your daughter is. Feed her correctly so the brain can expand more during her childhood. It's a great grounding to give any child, 5-1 or otherwise. And think about their environment. What is the environment that will best suit them? And again, that will be in the chart, in the advanced setting. And on my Rave app, it's actually listed in the descriptions. So that's something that you can do as a parent. Feed them well, do your best to give them the correct environment if possible. Understand if they have an active or a passive body, so you don't try to encourage them into something that is against their design. So for example, if they had a passive body and they want to go and be a sprinter or someone who's going to do a lot of calisthenic exercise, it's not going to work. You'll have to get a physiotherapist in to help them. So if they're going against their nature, you can nudge them back and explain to them why, and let them see for themselves that their natural state is what feels most comfortable and should be adhered to, because it saves so much time. So that's what I would say to that. And of course, your love is, everything to a child. The children that are well loved when they're young are the most stable that I meet. And on rare occasions, they are actually living their design impeccably. So love is very important, and I'm very, very happy to hear you say what you said in your question. Okay, viewers, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back again very soon with something completely different. See you then. Bye for now.